Hi and welcome everybody to the Uncanny X-Men. My name is Philip Tanzer, also known as Logan McCree. I apologize for being wet and half naked, but I just had a swim in our lovely sea here in Scotland. So what do I want to talk about today? A couple of days ago I drove back from Germany, where I'm originally from, back to Scotland, and I spent 6 hours in my car from the city of Newcastle to the little village where I live in, and I was listening to the radio. I was predominantly or almost exclusively listening to BBC Radio 4. I was not in the mood for music and I wanted to listen to conversations, some intellectual stuff, maybe political commentary. And after 6 hours of listening to BBC Radio 4, I actually became so angry that I was sitting in my car screaming at the radio. Because for 6 hours non-stop I was listening to women's issues or women's topics, and it wasn't a specific Women's Day, it was just your typical normal BBC Radio 4 day. When I first tuned in, it started with Women's Hour, and there's nothing wrong with Women's Hour. In fact, there was nothing wrong with most of the topics that they were talking about in the 6 hours. It was just the fact that in between there was absolutely nothing about men or something gender neutral. Everything was about women. So in Women's Hour, it was an interesting topic. It was, should women stop having babies to avoid climate change? And we had a vegan lady in her late 30s that had decided early on that she didn't want children because she doesn't want to destroy the planet. And yeah, so for 1 hour I listened to women self-sacrificing beautiful experiences, potentially beautiful experiences, on the altar of environmentalism. And I've been an environmentalist all my life, and I found that incredibly sad. Obviously everybody has the choice what they want to do. If they want to have children, that's absolutely fine, but there were actually women on that program that really wanted to have children, and the only reason why they didn't have children was because of environmentalism, and that I think is incredibly sad. Then I was listening to a program of a female writer who wrote crime stories about the mafia and about a female godmother, so to speak. So there was that. Then there was a program. What else did we have? Oh yeah, cooking with tinned food. So they were talking for an hour about tinned food. Yeah, that wasn't very interesting. Then they were talking about the BBC itself and how the BBC isn't gender equal and that women didn't get the same money for the same job. And they were talking about the gender wage gap, which actually is a lie. So the gender wage gap doesn't really exist. It's a gender I forgot the word. Not gender wage gap. Well, they get less because they work less, so to speak. Sorry about that, my brain is still a bit frozen. So there was that. There were two more female focused topics, and in between they had one segment about a new movie that's coming out, where an historical movie, but it's fiction, historical fiction, where the main character, who is traditionally white, was played by a person of color. So that wasn't about women, that was about race swapping, which annoys me as well a little bit, but I'm pretty sure the movie is good, so I don't care. I don't care. But then I left the car for a couple of minutes because I had to buy something, and I went back to the car, turned on the radio, and there was a woman talking about a book that she wrote about growing up in the UK, and that her mother told her that she couldn't be anything she wanted to be because she was a woman. And when she went to the job center back then, they said, oh, with your grades and with your academic levels, you can be anything you want to. You can be a hairdresser or a nurse. And then she was like, all because of patriarchy. And that's when I started screaming in my car, and I just said, fuck, stop it already. And the thing is, after that, I was listening to BBC Radio 4 twice again, and it was the exact same thing. Coincidentally, I was listening to Woman's Hour again. Again, there's nothing wrong with Woman's Hour. It's a good segment, I guess. But if everything you ever listen to are women's issues, and these exact women complaining about underrepresentation, while all you hear are women talking about women's issues, or women talking about politics, or women talking about sports, you're like, you're highly overrepresented. Stop it already. Okay, that's all I wanted to say today. Just a mildly annoying experience in the matriarchy. I hope you're all doing well. Like and subscribe if you liked the video, and talk to you soon.